Hello everyone, my name is Yuri Kasdorp, and we are back with another season of track guides with the GT Sprint Series. Yes, you see this right, it's not the GTE, it's the GT3 Corvette. It's a new car onto the service. Very nice to drive, quite tricky as well. We're at Barcelona Historic, what I think is a nicer version of Barcelona as well. So a good excuse to try out the new car. Let's get right into it. Right, so here we are, starting the last sector. Graceful as usual, and we're in one of the two new toys we got this season. We're in the Corvette Z06. And car feels quite different to other cars we're doing so far. It's very, very pointy into the corner, and in mid-corner it can have a bit of understeer. So we need to deal with that. Turn 1, we brake just before the 100. As you can see, the rear already wants to step out a bit on the entry there. And then we need to get the front to bite here, so we can go on throttle early. And brake just before the bridge. Keep a tight line and manage that understeer. Mid corner. Focus for a good exit. Brake just before the curb on the right side. Manage the understeer, high speed here. Easy to get that off track on the exit there. And brake at the end of the gravel here. Got quite a lot on the inside here. And last corner, try to get a good exit for the backs or the start finish straight again. And that's the lap around Barcelona. Alright, let's go have a closer look from the outside cam how we do the lap time. Then run up to turn 1. Want to go to the left side here, go 2 tires over the curb onto the green. You have to be careful with the right side tires and not hit the curb here. And then we're braking just after this orange double light here before the 100. So right around here. And then we want to get to the inside. Start turning in quite late. And then we get to this point here. And some cars really don't handle this anti-cut very well. With the Corvette, I found like even if you go over the anti-cut here, it just eats the curb up completely. So you don't have to be too scared of hitting it with the Corvette. With some other cars, you really want to avoid it by either driving just on the left side of it, like I'm doing now, or just on the right side of it. But on the right side of it, you're playing with fire. It can be a tiny bit faster, but if you go a tiny bit too far to the right, there's a 1 second slowdown that you can get here. Then for turn 2, you want to go all over the curb. The right side tires, they need to be touching the white line. But you can go all over the curb on the left side, and we want to do that to open up turn 3 as much as we can. So you want to exit turn 2, not all the way to the right side, but somewhere in the middle of the track, at least a car width from the right side. And we do it to open up turn 3. If you have to open it from all the way from the inside here, you have to go way too slow at the apex of turn 3. So we go over the curb, turn 2. Keep it fairly tight on the exit, and then open the corner up and go from the outside. And especially in the Corvette here, we want to use that pointy end on entry to get the car to point to the corner. So what I like to do here is not just go off the throttle or lift a bit. I like to tap the brake a tiny bit to get that car pointing the direction I want to. And from that point, we have to manage the understeer that the car has in the mid corner. But once the car's pointed, you can manage that much easier, and we can slowly go on throttle and let the car run wide. Then we get to turn 4, which is also quite tricky. I'm looking at this line here on the ground. You can also look at the bridge on top. Be careful with the shadow, because of course when the sun's position changes, the shadow changes. and I'm braking maybe 10-20 meters before this line. Again, we can brake very, very far to the left side here. The right side tires don't even have to touch the white line, just have to be on the curb. So we want to use all of that track that we are allowed to use. And then apex quite late and try to hug the inside of the corner a bit, at least initially. Some cars, they hug the inside better. The Corvette with the mid-corner understeer tends to run a bit wide on the exit, but it's not a huge issue here. Just initially try to follow it inside. If you go too far to the outside, you can't keep the car flat. Once you can, just run to the outside here. And then we get to this downhill hairpin, which is very, very tricky to find your braking point. Luckily, there's a couple different lines you can take through the corner. Here I broke a bit late, I think. So we go a bit on a late apex. I think it's a bit better if you brake a bit earlier and then hug the inside, maybe go 2 tires on the screen here. But coming from the outside, you can apex late and really set up for a really, really good exit as well. And then on the exit here, you can run close to the gravel, but be careful, it's very, very easy to get the off track here if your right side tires touch gravel on the right side. Then we get to this corner here. You want to brake just before you get onto the curb, down 2 gears, and you've got 2 choices to make here. Either you apex a bit later and you avoid this anti-cut on the left side here. I'll show it here. Or you go and throttle a bit earlier. You use this green on the right side. And then when you hit this anti-cut, I'll show the car from the front end. You have to make sure that you hit it with the middle of the car. So when you're coming here, you have to make sure you hit it with the middle of the car going over it. That way you avoid getting damage on the car, because the left side is still elevated a bit. You can see the track goes down a bit and up a bit. And that way the car doesn't just bonk on the anti-cut, and you can actually run over the anti-cut here without causing damage to the car. If you do it the wrong way though, if you're too far to the right side or the left side, it's possible that you can get damage to the car. And the other option, of course, is going on throttle a tiny bit later, and then making sure that your right side tire hits the green, but go back just before the anti-cut, instead of opening up the steering. Both options work out to about the same lap time. Going over the curb is slightly faster, because you can open up the steering a bit earlier, but there's not much time to gain or lose. And we get to turn 9. We want to run with the left side tires as close to the guide as we can, and we kind of want to use this curb here as a guide on what our line will be. So we follow the edge of the curb here back onto the track, and from there we start turning in. And then again, mid-corner, the Corvette tends to push a bit. So we want to be careful not going on throttle too early, especially hitting this curb, the red and white curb, too much on the inside here. Will push the car wide, and it's very, very easy to get the off track on the exit here. The 2 tires on the right side need to touch this red and white curb, otherwise you get the off track. Then we get to what I think is the better layout of this track, the historic version. So not going immediately left on the sharp left-hander, we're going the longer left-hander at the end. I'm looking at the gravel on the right side as my braking point. Brake right at those ends. And keep the car tight. And just make sure you don't have to follow the inside curb, but make sure that at the end of the corner here, your car can be on the left side close to the cones to open up the next corner again. We tap the brake a bit. Don't apex too early. And slowly on the power. If you go on the power too early, again, the car can understeer. Get to the last 2 corners. And I went a bit too late off the throttle here. Normally you want to go off the throttle a bit earlier to get more rotation again into the corner. So I went off the throttle a bit too late, and you can see I have to lift quite a lot in the middle of the corner because the car is not rotated yet. I get to the last corner here. Tap on the brake just before the anti-cut on the left is done. And then try to just set up for a good exit, and make sure you run all the way right on the exit here with the right side tires on the red and white curb. You don't have to look at the white line. And that's a lap around Barcelona in the new car. Right, so there we go. all the tips and tricks for this new Corvette and the Barcelona historic track. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next week.